everybody. This is the Black White Liberal. Thank you for coming on to the live stream. We're starting a little bit late. It's about 9:23 Eastern Time, but we are here and I'm definitely glad to see you. Let me check something here. And so welcome. Give me a quick second.
Hi.
I'm working on a couple of
Good evening,
different
everybody.
planes right
This
now.
is the Black White Liberal.
I haven't seen you
Thank
all
you
for a couple of,
coming on
maybe
to the
like a
live
week or
stream.
so
We're
live, a
starting
couple
little
of
bit
weeks
late. It's
live.
about 9:23.
Close that off. Hold on a second, you guys. Let me check something here. My stuff. And so welcome. Give me a quick second. But I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. We're going to talk about a few things today. The first thing we were going to talk about is um, hold on, there's still something going on with my sound, you guys. I'm sorry, just give me a minute. Okay. All right, I think I'm where I need to be, so I apologize. But how is everybody doing? We are trying something new with the camera angle, so just, have some patience with me. um, but it's been another busy week, and that's a week in politics as far as Joe Biden and things that he's doing, and Donald Trump and things that they're doing on his behalf. As when I say they, I'm talking about his lawyers. So there were a couple of big cases that came out this week. I hope y'all can hear me. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. Um, but there's a lot of things going on this week, and we'll start with Donald Trump. Um, right now, well, not right now, but this week, I believe there was a case on Tuesday in Pennsylvania, filed uh, on behalf of Pennsylvania, wanting to throw out votes up there, saying that there was cheating and corruption, and it actually went to the Supreme Court. So this was the first time. A lot of the times, what we've heard is, well, wait till we get to the Supreme Court, and Trump, of course, placed three people on the Supreme Court: Neil Gorsuch. Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. And so people were concerned that he was stacking the court. They were going to rule in his favor. But that did not happen. So on Tuesday, they just dismissed it out of hand. I think they said they gave one sentence, basically said, you all missed the deadline. And yesterday, Friday, we had another announcement. And this was a really big deal. What had happened was it was a very big deal because the Texas Attorney General, I believe his name is Bill Paxton. Um, I feel like that's an actor's name, so maybe I made that up. I apologize. But he basically is the Texas Attorney General, and he filed a lawsuit suing several states, including Georgia, sued four different states, saying that they changed their election procedures, and because of that, it somehow allowed for cheating. And the thing that's ridiculous about this is a lot of these changes that were not made by um, Democratic legislatures in the state. A lot of them were made by Republican legislatures. So that's one thing to understand, is who actually made these changes. And now the results of these changes have been, of course, that there was a landslide victory for Joe Biden, which is upsetting to Donald Trump. And so they're trying to throw out votes. And what they're trying to do is not really necessarily say, um, they're not trying to throw out votes like we're going to have another election. What they're trying to do is really bring the electoral college into play. So this is something we hear a lot about, the electoral college, and what that process is that people will there are people that are selected in the state that are electors. And once everybody casts their vote and we count the votes, there are, 23 electors in a state, and they are supposed to give their electoral votes to the candidate who received the most votes in the state. And what is happening now is that Donald Trump's this was a lawyer doing it on behalf of Donald Trump, basically is what they were trying to do is get them to throw that out so that the electors can basically choose who they want to choose. And in this case, the point of doing this is for the electors who will be picked by, I believe, the legislature. With a lot of these states, they are Republican legislators. So those are your representatives, your state representatives, and things like that. They want them to choose Donald Trump, even though the vote overwhelmingly went to Joe Biden. And so this is an attempt to subvert democracy. Well, let me just go back and say, I believe the court probably saw it as, they didn't say it was an attempt to subvert democracy. They said basically you can't come in and sue another state for how they run their election. And that's what these other states were trying to do. It started with Texas and the Attorney General in Texas, who is I believe he's under investigation. And so there is a lot of speculation that he is doing this because he wants Donald Trump's to give him a pardon. And so he filed this case on behalf of Texas against these other states. And there were 17 other states that joined in, and there were also 160 national Congress people that signed on. And I'm pretty sure most of these people were in the House of Representatives, which is a lot larger. There are a lot of people in the House of Representatives. But still, 160 people is a lot of people who were willing to come on and say, we stand in support of the president continuing to press that he won this election. And he didn't win. I'm sorry, he just didn't. So there is concern, and I think also, a call that something should be done, maybe legally, for these people who are coming on um, and still allowing this to go on. I do have a picture here where I'm talking about just talking about what the court said, and basically Texas was denied, and they said they had not demonstrated that it had a legal right to bring the suit because they didn't demonstrate a cognizable interest in the way a state conducts its elections. So basically, it's none of your business. We always talk about states' rights, and these people who are just upset about the outcome of the election are trying to go over states' rights to do what they want to do. And it's really outrageous, honestly. I don't know why I'm feeling so calm. Maybe it's my hair. uh, I'm feeling cute, you guys. Sorry. Okay, let me get back on topic. But yeah, it's really outrageous what they're doing. Um, I wanted to look this up so I could share with you all that a lot of people say, "Hey, this is treason." These people are really trying to undermine American democracy, American values. Um, I certainly feel like they are. I mean, it's beyond just partisanship at this point. This is, oops, I'm sorry, you guys. At this point, it's not even just really being partisan. It's just that's not how this is supposed to work. And I don't even see how you really get people to buy in and trust when you show that you're willing to just completely disregard how, you know, millions of people feel and how millions of people voted. And you have um, a lot of legislators who right now who are willing to do that. So something that's been floated around a lot is charging some of these people in the long run with sedition. And sedition is, I want to give a definition because I feel like you've probably seen this in different places. It is conducting conduct or speech which incites people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. And what are we doing right now? I mean, in a lot of these cases, with the things that Donald Trump has been doing, I read an article in the Washington Post where they talked about, he was calling legislators and really saying, hey, if we can get them to overturn this in the Supreme Court, we want you all to pick electors who are going to be favorable to us, no matter who people voted for in your state. We feel like, there's been cheating and there's been some illegal things, even though we can't prove it in a court of law. We've lost 60 cases at this point, and we can't prove it, but we believe it. So we're trying to get the Supreme Court to undermine democracy and basically kick it back to you all, and then you all give me the election. And it's crazy to me that he would be asking for this because he constantly shows that he throws people under the bus. So you can do this, like we talked about last week. Um, Brian Kemp really went to the mat for Donald Trump on a couple of things. And basically, what he got for it was Donald Trump throwing him under the bus, saying, "Hey, he did that, but he's not giving me the election, and he's not um, going along with my claim that there was fraud." And so he really threw him under the bus. And so going back to this, like I said, I really feel like they are encouraging people to rebel against authority. And right now, what we're seeing is using legal means to rebel against authority. And I say that because, um, you know, Trump and his legal team have filed a lot of cases um, in even though there's no standing, even though they're getting thrown out, they're using legal means to rebel against authority. But at the same time, they're kind of whipping up this undercurrent of people who absolutely believe what they're saying, people who absolutely believe that um, there was cheating and, just all the conspiracy theories. And so I feel like there's another layer of people who may be willing to rebel against the state. And what we're seeing right now, and we kind of laugh, when you watch different programs, they're like, this lawsuit is ridiculous, it's almost laughable. But at the end of the day, this is the legal route. And if people aren't happy, or if he's not happy, or if he just wants to do the most damage before he leaves, there just could be another type of uprising, possibly. Who knows? We were all really concerned election night, or there was a lot of concern about, what would happen and how people would feel. But, he's been fighting for the last couple of weeks. But I actually saw on Twitter that there was an article, I think that Anna Navarro had posted, that said that Jared and Ivanka bought a house in Miami, and that basically Donald Trump and Melania are looking to relocate to Mar-a-Lago. So while we go through all this and we're kind of kept on pins and needles and people are still giving money to Donald Trump's defense fund, while we're still doing all that, they seem to be moving on. So it's like, why are we even still fighting and having this discussion? Because it just all seems to be a hoax, honestly. Um, we'll move on past that and we'll talk about the really big, another really big thing that's going on right now. All the hot talk is the Senate race in Georgia. So there's a runoff on January 5th, and there were some debates between those two candidates. It's Raphael Warnock and Kelly Loeffler, and David Perdue and John Ossoff. And David Perdue did not show up to the debate with John Ossoff, and I don't know what that says, but he just didn't bother to come. And Kelly Loeffler and uh, Raphael Warnock, they actually, I watched the debate. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't great, really, because Kelly Loeffler was very repetitive. She had some lines that she had been fed that she was told to say over and over again, including that radical Raphael Warnock and his radical liberal agenda and those kind of things. I would say maybe that I enjoyed watching uh, Raphael Warnock and the things that he shared, Reverend Warnock, and the things that he shared. And while I didn't enjoy Kelly Loeffler, I didn't feel like I really learned anything. She talked about a lot of things that she had done, and I had not had a chance to fact check it. I'm actually on a fact checking page now. Um, and a lot of it sounded good, but what I find is we're just in a place in society where we outright lie. Like we just outright lie about our credentials and what we've done and what the true impact is. And so, she did talk about funding that she brought to Georgia and things. I mean, she hasn't been there that long because she was appointed when Johnny Isaacson stepped down. But she certainly talked about a lot of things. So it was enlightening from the perspective of I was like, oh, I didn't realize that she had done that. But then it's like, is that really true? Is kind of the hard part. There was one part where she did she attacked Reverend Warnock on a couple of things. Um, One of the things that she said was, and this is probably what you've seen a lot of, um, him talking about his you cannot serve God and the military at the same time. Um, and I definitely feel like it was taken out of context. Um, I want to look. Oops. Hold on. Um, Sorry, guys. Um, so here CNN was talking about the truth was he was protecting the rights of young people to make sure they had. She accused him of a couple of things, including the God and Mammon um, comment. Just give me a second. I actually saved it, but now I don't see it. He accused her of being a QAnon conspiracy theorist and that she sat down with a white supremacist. A lot of these people are into QAnon. A lot of it, really, what it comes down to, because I can't find it right now, so I apologize. But what a lot of it really comes down to is, oops, sorry. um, it's just misconstruing information and just not being honest about, what was said. The God in the military, that's a very common passage. Um, that's a very common passage just about putting God first, and that's what he was talking about. And just that people in general, especially if we are a lot of people are upset about this moving away from being a more Christian society, and that Christianity is under attack and Christmas is under attack. And it's like, okay, if that's what's important to you, then you should be putting God first before the military, before police, before Donald Trump. God comes first. And so that's what he was talking about in that sermon. And what I tend to think as these ads ramp up, we were talking about the debate, but the ads are doing the same thing is, they're only talking to their base. There's nobody trying to inform or change minds at this point. And we're going to see what happens. So January 5th, the election is happening in Georgia. If you're in Georgia, the early voting starts on Monday, which is December 14th. So if you want to do that, go ahead and get that done. Um, and there's just a lot that hangs in the balance. Right now, we are still waiting on, from the last I checked, still waiting on COVID relief. They were also talking about shutting down the government. I believe this will be the second or third time we've shut down the government. The last time I recall was around this same time of year. So just the stress that we're putting on people, the stress that we're putting on our workers, um, and their families right now. I talked to some people today that were talking about not having a job and just trying to deal with that, and it just feels very chaotic for somebody who was going to come in and fix it. I want to show this. Uh, Kind of see what your thoughts are, how you feel about it. I have actual feelings about this. Probably not the feelings that people would even expect, to be honest. Pull it up here, and it's everywhere. I know that you've seen it. Um, Time Person of the Year is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. People of the Year. And I just thought, wow, in a year, I mean, and what they've done, God bless them, kudos to them. But in a year when our teachers have had to do so much, and parents have had to do so much, and frontline workers, and just essential workers have had to do so much. I just felt like it was a year when we could have picked someone else, and that's odd to say when you have your first woman vice president, and I'm a woman, and I'm super. I don't know, and it's a hard thing for me because I'm super proud of Kamala Harris and what she's accomplished, and I also am impressed so far with some things that Joe Biden is doing. He certainly is trying his best to be inclusive and thought. Oh, my hands don't work. Inclusive and thoughtful, and I feel like he's doing that. But even so, it just I don't know. I'm proud of them and kudos to them. But gosh, it was one of those times when it's almost like, can we open the cover? You know how sometimes they have those magazines and you can open the cover a couple of times and there's more pictures of people who are also included. I feel like this is almost one of those moments where we need teachers and frontline workers and essential workers and grocery store workers. I remember in 2001 or 2002, Times Person of the Year was you. And they were talking about all of us because that's when YouTube was blowing up and you had people who weren't even really influencers yet, but it was just the birth of that. And it just felt like this is one of those you years. The person of the year is you. Like, I feel like even their election, it's just, it's still, even their election is about how all of us individually have been affected by 2020, which is just, I think, pretty much beating us all down. And that's how, which is terrible if I just said, they just beat us down until we got to them. But um, in a way, yeah, there was a lot that people wanted, and then in the end, it just got so crazy. I think people were just like, I just need some stability. This year has just beat the mess out of me, and I need things to settle down. And that's how we got Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, in my opinion. So, yeah, that was kind of the things that I wanted to cover. Was like I said, the Supreme Court this week has really shown me that they are one of the last walls of defense of our Constitution. The president has thrown it under the bus. The Congress and the, you know, state legislators and national federal legislators have really just stood back and let this man take this to new heights. And so the executive branch is compromised, the legislative branch is compromised, and thankfully the judicial branch did its job and was not partisan, which they are not supposed to be partisan. So I'm glad for that. And that's basically the big news of the week, was that Donald Trump legally has basically almost been stopped in his tracks. I think there's one more thing that he could try, but no. And I will say, as much as I don't like Mitch McConnell in the Senate, I believe, I don't think there's any senators that signed on to that lawsuit that I mentioned earlier. Those were all people from the House of Representatives. And so the Senate, from time to time and in its own way, continues to be one of the adults in the room. You know, they won't be the first adult to speak up, but when other people start to speak up, you know, they're like, yeah, we got to do it right. So, I guess I'll give them some credit. So you all, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I would love for you to check me out, like and subscribe. And I'm going to continue to put out videos. You know, what kind of videos do you want to see? Right now, I'm just kind of coming on here and talking about the news of the day. I've thought about doing like educational kind of things to talk about, you know, the Supreme Court, or talk about the Electoral College. This was a really good opportunity to really discuss who these electors are and where this comes from and what it means. And I can certainly do something more in depth. Try to give you a little more humor. Trying to be a little serious today. But let me know what you want to see. And I love politics and policy. A bit of a policy nerd. I've been into it for a really long time. You know, Donald Trump coming here almost just exhausted me because I am so into the details and the weeds. And so, you know, if y'all want to talk about that stuff, let me know, and we can definitely make some videos on it. So, just want to say I'm trying to learn how to do this. I'm sorry. But, you know, you all take care. Have a great weekend. The holidays are coming up. You know, make wise choices, smart choices. Be safe no matter what you do. And we will see you next week at 9 o'clock for the live stream. And definitely subscribe to the page because, like I said, I'm trying to put out other videos. And I would love to hear from you to kind of be able to give you things that are helpful. If there's something you want to learn about government, something you want to talk about government, politics, I'm into it. Policy, I really enjoy it. So let's get together and talk about what's going on, because when Donald Trump leaves, it's not going to stop. Change still needs to happen, and we still have to be engaged. So that's what we're doing here. So you all take care. It's the Black White Liberal, and I'll see you next week. Peace.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face. Tell me that you love me.